Hey, welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast. Every black film ever made. My name is Len, aka the Bat Tribble, and I am here with my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 280 on our road to 300.
On the road to 300.
Amen. And we will be reviewing Hidden Figures from 2016 with our guest, Joanne Griffith of the American Public Media or America Public Media. I think I may have written that wrong there. Yep, I was right. It's American Public Media.
Trust yourself.
I should.
Trust yourself.
As always. Joanne will be joining us very soon when we see her in the green room area of the show, even as we speak. Just waiting for her camera to come on, and then she will be joining us here.
Having some of the ample refreshments we have in the green room.
yes, she's enjoying the
apple slices and
the seedless grapes. Most definitely. And hey, there she is.
Hey,
what's up?
Hey, How are you? Uh-oh. We are not hearing her. I'm not hearing Joanne. Are you hearing Joanne?
I'm not.
Why can you not hear me? Can you not hear me?
Oh, you know why we're not? Why are we not hearing Joanne?
I don't know.
I know. Joanne. I can hear you.
I know why we're not hearing Joanne. I'm going to drop you out for just 1 second, Joanne. Just one moment.
All right. Joanne hears you.
She can hear me.
All right.
She can hear me, but we could not hear her, and I know why we cannot hear her.
Okay.
So I am going to fix that.
Okay.
One moment, Tito. We do these things live.
Are
you not entertained?
All the way live.
I know.
You're taking out headphones. Like, are you about to actually leave the studio and go to Joanne?
No, I am not. No, I am not. What happens is that, and it is completely a faux pas of mine. So
okay.
I apologize. But when we have a guest with our new setup, we need to have on our headphones so that we can hear.
Oh,
that's
what's going. So you're gonna hand me headphones.
I'm gonna hand you headphones.
All right.
As soon as I get them all hooked up.
Soon as you get them all hooked up.
Yeah. So I just gotta look for my splitter here.
Then there's a splitter involved.
Yeah, it's a whole situation.
It's a splitter involved. It could be worse. You could have on high heels and you can't afford pearls, and then you have to get on a step stool and do math on a chalkboard. And then if you have to use the bathroom, you have to go across campus.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, you did watch Hidden Figures, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. I honestly wasn't paying attention.
Oh, you weren't paying attention to me, or you weren't paying attention to Hidden Figures?
I wasn't paying attention to what you were just saying.
Okay, all right. Right, I was saying it could be worse. You could be like Katherine Johnson and all the challenges that she went through.
Just keep your vamping.
Keep the vamping. I'm doing well. I'm just watching you dig in the bags and pull out various and sundry things.
This is what happens
when you have a travel bag. Is that your go bag? Like if it goes down, that's what you grab. You have a splitter in your go bag.
This is what happens when it goes left, and we. Oh man,
and now it's another bag.
I know, bags of bags. I'm looking at Joanne. I see you. Joanne's got on headphones. Look at her. She's all ready.
Bag lady, you gonna miss your bus.
Oh man,
carrying all them bags with you.
I know. Got my splitter here. Now I gotta do this.
It is embarrassing how many times it took me to hear that song for me to realize that Erykah Badu was speaking metaphorically.
She was.
I was like, is it an issue with a bunch of women with a bunch of bags? And then I was like, oh. You are still digging in that bag.
I know, because series of adapters you gotta get.
A series of adapters.
I know, this is what happens when everything is running late. This is not a good look. I apologize.
Hey, man, it's live.
I know.
That's what happens when it's live. And you're improvising right now. This is how they created chocolate chips in jazz. You know, I think my daughter told me that was a myth.
What?
That thing about chocolate chips. You know that story about the housewife who dropped the chips in the you are up again in the mix. You never heard that?
No.
Growing up, that's the story of chocolate chips. Like chocolate chips initially were a small amount of chocolate that you could control how much you put into ingredients. And the story was some woman was making chocolate chips, making some type of cookie, and knocked the bowl of chocolate chips into the cookie mix. And that's how they made chocolate chips.
I did not know that.
But I think it was my daughter that told me that's actually a myth.
That sounds like a myth.
That the cookie company made up.
Sounds very apocryphal.
I mean, it could happen. I've knocked stuff over in the kitchen.
Where is my damn adapter?
So there's the adapter and the splitter. Oh, you are under the table. Feel like the camera should be following you. This is quite exciting.
This is not exciting.
I mean, it's pretty exciting.
It's not exciting at all.
I find it exciting.
Well, I'm glad you did. At least one of us.
Now you're under the table. I'm waiting for stuff to start flying out from under the table.
I know. I'm trying to find an adapter.
The adapter.
I need an adapter to come up my headphones because I gotta have the splitter. The splitter's gotta be.
Splitter's got to be on adapter. There's no way to do the splitter without the adapter.
You can't do the splitter without the adapter because it's a big splitter and it's gotta adapt to go into the thing.
It's a big splitter. Got to adapt to go into the thing.
It's annoying as hell. Okay. All right.
All right.
Think.
All right.
Think.
All right.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
All right. All right. Can I look in something?
No, you can't.
There's a Batman head in here with a bunch of stuff in. I think it's all pins, but oh, it's not that.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
I had this all set up.
I know. Best laid plans of mice and men.
I was ready.
The best laid Wasn't on.
There you go.
Mic's on now.
The mic should be on.
Too late. I can't go back.
Yes,
and
your mic is on.
I can't retell the secret of the universe.
Yes, you can.
It's gone.
All right. So I'm gonna try this.
It was just sort of a stream of consciousness thing, and then it was gone.
I don't want this to pick up. Okay.
Is there any way we could do it from there? Like maybe she's mic'd on her end and
She is mic'd on her end.
okay. All right. Uh-oh. Things are going out. Things are going in. Plugs are going in. Headphone.
Can you hear yourself?
Can I hear myself? I can.
You do?
I can hear myself.
Okay. All right.
There's a bit of a delay, but
You do hear yourself.
I can
Now,
hear.
talk to you won't. Joanne won't be able to hear you.
No, Joanne won't be here yet.
Now added Joanne to the
Wait,
screen.
here, and there's Joanne.
Can you hear her?
Hello. Can
And
you
I
hear me?
heard Joanne.
Very good. Very good.
All right.
We got there. We got there. Live radio, y'all.
Listen,
Live radio.
Throw this on here. Boom, boom, boom.
I'm glad that everyone missed the beautiful dance that was Lynn improvising.
Oh, I hear Joanne's melodious laughter. All right, so we're good.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. How
doing?
are you?
Yay.
All
You know,
right.
I'm all the better for being able to chat with the two of you. This is the end of my work day, and I get to chat with you all and talk about one of my favorite movies. So, what's not to love?
What's not to love? I like the way you frame that. I like the end of the workday part.
Yeah, and I just realized I should probably turn some lights on because I'm sitting by the window and it's very quickly getting dark here in Los Angeles. But you know, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. That's what we do. That it's like two men, one podcast. Every black film ever made. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Figure it out.
Well, we figured it out. Thank you very much, Joanne, and thank you, everyone out there watching us as we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube. As we dealt with our technical difficulties, and we have triaged on the spot, and we are now streaming live. Welcome to episode 280 of the Micheaux Mission, Two Men, One Podcast, every black film ever made. We are here to review Hidden Figures.
Space math.
Yes, space math. Starring Taraji P, Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe, as well as Kevin Costner, in a film that was selected by our very special guest, Joanne Griffith of American Public Media. Thank you again and welcome, Joanne.
Yes,
Oh,
welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. You know, we're big Micheaux Mission fans in our household, so I am truly honored to be here with you all.
Oh, our pleasure.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. And Farrell Blackwell is giving a shop saying that MacGruber is in the house. I guess that's as a reference to how I doctored everything up. I
Oh
guess.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you, Farrell.
Lynn actually had a piece of gum. Like I'm halfway joking that no one else saw it, but Lynn was in here moving.
I was trying to make things happen. Most definitely. Now, you said that you buried the lead a little bit there, Joanne, because you said that Hidden Figures is one of your favorite movies.
It
Is that true?
one of my favorite movies. You know, I am a huge, even though I've spent 20 plus years working in audio as a journalist, I still harbor dreams of, going to space. I'm a huge space cadet. And I think now I'm going to have my own technical thing because I just realized I didn't plug my laptop in. So we're going to chat and then I'm going to go and get my cord so we can.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
But actually, you know what? I'm going to do this because we are doing this so live. We're going to walk from one room to another.
All right.
I love this. I love this.
With the camera off, we're going to make it do what it do.
Yes.
That's
Nothing-
that's
there's
right.
Nothing to see here, people. I will plug my laptop in as if nothing ever happened. Here we go.
Joanne
Hi.
said,
Hi.
Oh, there you go.
Look at
In another room. But yeah, but Hidden Figures is one of my favorite movies. Like as a kid, I was always fascinated with space, you know, for years, like legit for years until I was well into my teenage years. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to find some kind of way to be involved in space exploration. Unlike the characters in Hidden Figures, though, I am not good at math in any way, shape, or form. So that particular avenue was perhaps closed to me. But you know, just to kind of see a movie based on a true story. I love biographies as well. So knowing that it was based on a true story, you know, that it completely elevated and celebrated not just Black women, but smart Black women.
Yeah.
People who actually exist, people who went through these experiences. I just loved it. And it also was that blend of space exploration, talking about race, racism, gender, the civil rights movement, and just kind of how, you know, we saw that blend of science and also what was happening culturally and politically at the time. And I just thought it was so smart, so clever, and kind of educational too, because I know for me personally, I don't know about you all or anyone who's on who's listening in, you know, Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson were not people that I had ever heard about. And that
Most
was
people.
No, not at all.
So, you know, from that point of view, I'm like, I say to my kid, you got to sit down and watch this because, yeah, you know, there's a bit of artistic license and stuff in there, but this is history. This is our history, and stuff that's really important. So yeah, I will watch. I actually watched the movie again last night in preparation for our talk today, and still holds up, still fresh, still great.
That's great.
That
is really
great.
Cool. That's really cool. We are going to get into our review of Hidden Figures in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We have a couple of pieces of business that we like to take care of here on this show, as always. First, beginning with our listener mail.
Missives from the missionaries.
That is true. Our Micheaux missionaries, they do like to hit us up, and we have a RMJ movie reviews.
Okay.
Who has actually been going through our back catalog, it seems.
Oh, hey, RMJ Movie Reviews.
Has commentary about our review of Penitentiary 2, as well as our review of Drop Squad.
Okay.
Now, I'll read his comment about Drop Squad, which was the movie from 1994 that we reviewed recently. He said, this was an interesting film. It was complicated and uncomfortable, but I loved to watch it again, or I would love to watch it again. I just remember all the torture scenes and offensive commercials with Spike Lee. The cast is insane with 90s Black character actors. I remember my father's friends at the time saying how much they hated the film. And I'm sorry that I can't find it anywhere, was what RMJ was saying.
Oh, how did we watch that?
I believe that
was that a DVD?
No, that was streaming someplace.
I thought it was. Okay.
Yeah, so you can it's out there to be found. RMJ. He also left comments, as I mentioned, about Penitentiary 2,
the sequel to Penitentiary.
Yes. He said, yeah, Penitentiary 2 is dreadful. As I recall, Roger Ebert gave it 0 stars. Leon Isaac Kennedy always had on-screen charisma, but once he talks, it fades quickly. Yeah, that's
yeah.
I can't knock that. That's real talk right there.
It's a shame he wasn't in silent films.
It is a shame. Very much a shame. We also heard from I just saw the email. We heard from our good friend, and it's a long time since we've heard from him. Belinda Silber.
Hey, Belinda.
She hit us up again, and she left a comment about. Oh no, here it was. George Kimona.
Hey, George.
George Kimona hit us up about Trading Places.
Yes,
gents and missionaries. Arg, I say. I was trying hard to make it for the live Trading Places broadcast. Since I missed it, here are my random thoughts that I couldn't put in the comments. I love 6 Degrees of Dervo Martin.
I'm going
to say this part should be like the Borg, only use it for sweeps and or it should connect to the movie being reviewed. Which is an interesting note that I actually thought of last week, and you'll see how it plays a part tonight.
Okay. I am ready tonight.
Oh, are you? We'll see. Side note, you guys were so close with Farrah Fawcett. He gives us Dervo Martin to Katharine Hepburn, to Jane Fonda, to Dolly Parton, to Burt Reynolds, who was in Cannonball Run with Farrah Fawcett.
And I could have gotten it this week.
You could have. People don't know. Vincent is waiting on pins and needles for
pins
Dervo
and needles.
Missing on the single black character list. I think there's like shows that have just a single black character.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac from The Love Boat, the bartender.
Yes,
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Venus Flytrap from
WKRP in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Freddie Boom Boom Washington from Welcome Back Kotter. And Benson, who was not only the single black male or person on Soap, he would go on to be spun off.
Yes.
To be the only black male on his own show.
Right.
Benson.
And ascended to lieutenant governor?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
With nary a black person around. Also, I completely agree with Vincent about Gene Wilder and Willy Wonka, and I would add Young Frankenstein. He's a complete a-hole in that one too.
Yeah. I always forget he's in Young Frankenstein.
Oh, he's like,
I know. What I realize is I always forget about Young Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was George Kimona's email.
Thank you, George.
To us. And as I mentioned, we also heard from Belinda Silber, who said she enjoyed our recently run Star Trek special, Geordie LaForge. And the Curious Case
thank you. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you posted that.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. I'm much older than you and probably most of your missionaries. When I was in my teens, being nerdy and discussing Star Trek or liking anything perceived as white, such as the Beatles or steamed broccoli, which I didn't know that steamed broccoli was a white thing. Joanne, were you aware that steamed broccoli, the love of steamed broccoli, is apparently a white phenomenon?
No, I didn't know that.
I have to say, my people come from that Southern tradition of you just cook everything down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a lot of steamed vegetables until I was older. I'll allow that.
Okay.
There wasn't a whole lot of al dente in the house. It was like
it really wasn't.
You
never had like the mixed vegetables that came in like that frozen rectangle,
mm-hmm.
and then your mother like put it in the boiling water, and then it was almost like a mush by the time she was finished with it.
Yep.
No, that's not how my mom cooked. No, I don't know how your mother cooked.
Yeah,
my mother didn't cook with a brick of vegetables that she put in water.
It's the mixed vegetables.
No, my mom. Well, first of all, my mom. I gotta be honest. My mom cooked most of her vegetables from cans. So
okay,
it was like canned string beans.
Sure.
They didn't have canned broccoli though.
And she didn't cook it down.
No, she didn't cook it down.
Didn't cook it down. You gotta cook it down.
She didn't cook it down. She just
boiled
boil it for a little bit.
And
then put it on a plate. But she put it on top of the mashed potatoes, so it tasted good.
Okay.
Mixed it with the mashed potatoes.
Just mix it up.
It mixed it all around.
All right.
Well, apparently steamed broccoli was a white thing.
Apparently steamed broccoli. Look at you over there eating that steamed broccoli.
Your name ain't Mary. Or Karen, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, when I was a teen, being nerdy and discussing Star Trek or liking anything perceived as white, that was the kiss of death. Even the way you spoke could get you teased and ridiculed. Has this perception changed, and is being nerd cool in the hood? Belinda Silber asks us a question. Well, I would say that the truth of the matter is, especially with the rise of Marvel films and, you know, Disney pretty much owning everything, and Apple TV just blowing up, and just the whole how the tech world had, you know, taken media and exploded it, that nerd culture is now synonymous with pop culture.
Right.
So being into that nerdy stuff is seen as cool. I mean, proof is you and I are sitting in a room that is adorned from the floor to the ceiling.
It is.
In Batman.
It is.
And everybody that comes in here says, this is so cool.
Hey, man, you cooler than the other side of the pillow.
20 years ago, I'd have been beat upside the head with multiple pillows for having a room full of Batman. Yeah. So, you know, what was once nerdy is now what is hip.
I think we won.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I think we won.
And we always knew we would.
I know.
That's why we persevered.
I know.
And we kept our comics in long boxes.
That's right. Bagged and board.
Hidden in the basement because we knew the day would come when we could display them on shelves.
Right. Joanne, we're having a moment.
We're having a geek moment.
No, I'm sitting here. I mean, I was always a nerd as a kid, and that, you know, and that kind of translated to I love books, I love music. You know, I kind of, you know, I was okay at some sports, but yeah, I think this is kind of the nerds moment has come, and like everyone's kind of like, yeah, like I'm a nerd, and I'm like, don't be one of those kind of
right.
I just came nerd. Like don't
right,
jump on the train now that it's cool. Like if you weren't beaten up, bullied, ridiculed for the stuff that you like, you're not a nerd. Like sit down.
So you said that you were a nerd, Joanne. Where was your nerddom? What were you really geeky about?
My nerddom was books, reading, and I play the flute. And I started playing the flute.
Really?
Nice. when I was pretty young, and it was not something that my friends had any interest in doing. I was the only. I was one of a very small handful of Black kids at my school. You can hear from my accent. I'm from the UK, but yeah, you know, my evenings were spent. You know, I would. My parents would buy me these like duet books, and so I would record the melody. And then I would rewind it back because I'm aging myself now. This is kind of on old school cassette tapes. I'd then rewind it back, and then I would play the harmony, and I would do that all evening. And then when I was done, I would read a book. Like that was my life until I discovered sport, and then, you know, I was nerdy about that too. But yeah, it was music and books.
That sounds like a nice evening.
Yeah,
playing to do it with yourself.
And now as an adult. I don't have time to do that now, but yeah, it was great.
Do you still play the flute? Do you still?
I do not as much as I would like to, but my son is learning how to play the piano, so I kind of am learning a little bit along with him. But we'll sometimes kind of he'll play and I'll take up my flute and play alongside him. So he's a little nerd now too. I literally have kind of created a smaller version of me in that.
Of course,
he really enjoys music. He loves to read.
Really?
To read. Yeah. I mean, it's out of control. He gets in trouble at school for reading too much and like rushing through his work to be able to kind of get to the books. But yeah, and he wants to be an astronaut. So I'm like,
all right, get out of here.
I'm like, do it all. It's great.
Oh wow, that is cool.
Listen, being 9 is pretty awesome. See, and on cue, he just ran behind me.
Look at it. He's
about to say it's a cameo.
Come on in. Come.
I was just talking about you.
Wow. Hey there. Oh, hey. Future astronaut about to take off. Oh, we see you. All right.
And now he's gone.
Look at it.
Like,
We had a sighting.
He may have a future in mind too. He kind of did that walk down. Pretty dope. So nerd. I like it. I love it. It's interesting you said that you read books. So I had a question for Vincent that somebody asked me, and you can answer this too, Joanne.
Okay.
Do you know what book you have read the most often? Like you've reread the most often, and why did you read it?
Oh my goodness. At this point, probably Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. Because I read it for pleasure. I read it for my dissertation a lot.
Yeah.
And I teach it.
Okay.
So I read Parable of the Sower a lot.
Now, do you find yourself reading it now more because of the school, or are you still pulling out different things each time you read it?
Both.
Yeah,
both. Because I do think a great book, you see something new every time you read it.
Cool. And what about you, Joanne?
I would say The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I pull that out. I think I first read it as a teen, and I had a copy like for years. I think I must have given it to my sister, and actually during the pandemic, my husband and I actually we got 2 copies and started reading it again. But it's one of those, I don't know, I kind of like read at various times in life. My original copy had, like you said, whenever you read a book another time, you always pull out something new or something different. So my old version was highlighted, had notes down the side, all kinds of stuff. So I think probably that, and then someone actually just put it in the chat about The Color Purple. I think that would probably be my one too. I've not read it in recent years, but again, when I was younger, kind of on my Alice Walker tip, I read that a lot.
All right, that's
a good book to reread too.
That is a good book to reread. Very much so. Very much so. I don't know what it says about me, but the book that I've probably reread the most often is the complete run of the comic book series Fables, which is which is if you don't know, it is a comic book that fictionalizes that all of the characters of Fables and storybooks have to escape their land because they're being oppressed there and find sanctuary here in the world of the mundane, the earth, with earthlings, and adventures ensue. It's my favorite comic book of all time, and I find myself rereading that complete run probably because it's about 25 trades.
Yeah, it's a big run.
So I reread it probably about every 2 years. Yeah, I love it.
We'll talk about that offline because now I'm ready to get into a deep
dive,
boring and nerdy conversation with you about that no one wants to hear.
No, they want to talk to you guys about The Alchemist and Parable of the Sword.
Right.
Nobody wants to talk about comics with me. Come on, get out of here. All right. We are going to get into our review with Joanne Griffith of American Public Media. And for those who don't know, American Public Media, and I'm going to read this directly from their website, American Public Media, they have podcasts and media for curious listeners. They are a media company that produces and distributes award-winning public radio programming to more than 1,000 public radio stations and 17 million listeners with a capital M every week. They are public media, and I believe in 2022 they are going to be rebranding themselves as American Public Media. We are Joanne Griffith, because she just is one of the head muckety mucks over there at APM Studios,
Yeah, I work very specifically with the podcast unit. So I'm with APM Studios. And, so we do a lot in the children's space, in lifestyle and culture, also news and investigations. So it's honestly, I probably wouldn't say this to my boss, but I would do my job for free because I get to, yeah.
I was about to say, watch all that.
But, at like kind of talking about being a nerd, even though I was a nerd about, kind of like books and music as a kid, I've been a nerd about audio for the last 25 years, the worlds that you can create through sound, the ways that you can connect people, the stories that you can tell. Thank you. All of those things. Over the years, people are like, well, why don't you work in TV? And I'm like, you got to wear too much makeup. You got to pay attention to what's in the background, what's on the screen. And I always think the turning point for me as an audio journalist really was, so I grew up in a town called Luton that has an airport. It's about 30 miles north of London.
Okay.
And I always remember there was always some drama going on at the airport. And there was this one particular day, we got a phone call saying that a bunch of people were sitting on the tarmac because there were problems with a few of the planes. So the newsroom that I worked for, we were radio and television. So I went to the airport. One of my TV colleagues went to the airport. We left at the same time. And I got to the airport and I was able to kind of work my way through security and all the rest of it to get to the other side, to chat to the passengers and kind of figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, my colleague who works in television, because he had and this is kind of going back like 20 years. So it was him, it was a sound guy, it was a camera person.
Like small little crew, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they weren't traveling light. And the airport was like, yeah, no. Like I can't we can't get all of y'all through and all of that. So for me, it was that nimbleness of it was me and a recorder. And I was able to kind of work my way through and I was able to get the story. And also people aren't as intimidated by having a microphone in front of them as opposed to having a big camera. So, you fast forward 20 years now with podcasting. And what I really love about it is, like we're sitting and talking. I'm in my house in Los Angeles, you're all the way across the country. And technology has made it such that anyone that has a laptop or a phone can record audio. There's free editing software out there. There's free music out there that you can mix into your podcast. Like it's the great democratizer, if you like, of how we share information. There aren't gatekeepers anymore. If you want to make a show, you can just make a show. Like that's what Roll did. It was like it's true. We want to talk about every Black movie that's ever made. You didn't ask for permission, you just did it. So that for me is the beauty of audio, and the beauty of podcasting in particular is just that freedom that people have to just make the things that they want to make, even if it's just for them and a couple of homies. Yeah. And yeah, so I get to do that every day. I get to listen to people. I get to look at pictures. I get to think about, how can we create joy and how can we help people live better lives through audio. So for me, I have the best job, truly the best job.
Well, yes, you do. Yeah, and you're speaking my language with that about podcasting, because one of the reasons why I enjoy doing podcasting, Vince likes to joke that I'm a part of about 9,000 different podcasts.
It's true.
It's only 8,980. But anyway,
and you could stop anytime you wanted.
I could. But the reason why I enjoy it is because, like you said, it is, the world of media has been democratized so much that everybody can still do this and they can get their stories out there and get it heard. But I think, and even though we love streaming live to YouTube and Facebook, and that people can see our faces and everything like that, I think the beauty of a podcast is that it is audio, it is in your ear, it can go with you throughout your day. You can walk, and we can be a part of your world as you are going to the grocery store, as you are pumping your gas. You don't have to be sitting right in front of your phone or your computer. We can become like almost your friend. That's the beauty, and I think that's the great reason why we have such a loyal fan base, is because as many people as watch us on the live stream, there are thousands more that are listening to us in their ear, and they are the ones that are writing us because it's like, oh yeah, I was listening to you while I was, just driving along, or some people they be so engrossed in the conversation they sit in the parking lot before they go to work because they want to hear the thought. That's usually when they want to hear Vince's thought. They don't want to hear my thought, but it's still that's what happens.
Oh yeah, because I'm deep.
Yeah, you're deep. We're deep. We're going to see exactly how deep you are, Vincent.
Is it time?
It is time.
Is it time?
It is time
for the game of kings.
Here we go. Here we go. You and your game of kings. Yes, it is time for 6 Degrees of Dervo Martin.
Yes,
Vincent.
I will go from the thespian Dervo Martin to a person of your choice.
Yes.
In 6 moves or less.
That's right. Are you familiar with this game, Joanne?
I have been briefed on this game. Yes.
Okay. So basically what it is, if you want to play along with Vincent, what you have to do is you have to using 70s blaxploitation character actor superstar Dervo Martin. In movies, you have to move from him to another actor, and no more than 6 movies. And
all right,
tonight.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
I'm ready for you.
Who you got for me, Len?
You ready?
I am ready.
All right, tonight it is going to be 6 Degrees of Dervo Martin to Taraji P. Henson.
Okay. How am I going to get to Taraji P. Henson
from Dervo Martin? Now, I've already mapped it out.
Oh, no. I'm actually finished.
Oh, what? No, you get out of here.
Oh, I'm finished.
Okay. All right. What you got? What you got?
So, Dervo Martin, as you mentioned, has been in many films. He's actually been in some films that we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to begin with Dervo Martin in 5 on the black hand side.
Okay. All right.
Where he played the oldest son of Mr. and Mrs. Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, Mr. Brooks was a barber.
Yes.
One of the other barbers in the shop was played by Dick Anthony Williams.
Okay.
We've seen Dick Anthony Williams several times here on the mission.
If you say so.
He's probably best known for, probably to his chagrin, as the rival pimp in the Mac.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that actually, Goldie says, "Excuse me, Mr. Pretty Tony," because he plays Pretty Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Your lady chose me.
Okay.
So we can sell this like gentlemen, or we can go outside and get into some gangster stuff.
We actually haven't reviewed the Mac yet.
We haven't.
Okay.
We saw him in Uptight.
Okay.
But my favorite role that Dick Anthony Williams has played, especially for these purposes, a surprisingly nuanced depiction of Mr. Gilliam, the father of Bleak Gilliam in Mo Better Blues.
Wow.
So with one move, I've now gotten to Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, Giancarlo Esposito,
oh boy,
Samuel L. Jackson, Spike Lee,
Bill Nunn,
Charlie Murphy, Bill Nunn.
Okay. All right.
And the person that I'm going to get to Taraji P. Henson with. So I'm going to go from Dick Anthony Williams to John Turturro.
Okay. All right.
From John Turturro, I'm going to jump to Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Which he was in with George Clooney. George Clooney was, of course, in any of your Ocean's 11's films with Brad Pitt, who co-starred with Taraji P. Henson
in
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Very good, Vincent. Very, very, very good. Joanne is giving you a standing ovation for that. Well done. Well done. Farrell Blackwell's in the chat, believes that Dick Anthony Williams is actually the father of comedian Dean Cole. So that was very good. Very good. I'm not sure whether or not that is true. That's very good. Now, I had mapped out a similar path because I had mapped out Dervo Martin to The Big Score with Richard Roundtree. Who would then go on to star in Shaft from 2000.
I see what you did. I see what you did.
With Jeffrey Wright, who was in Syriana with George Clooney, who was in Ocean's 11 with Brad Pitt, to The Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons with Taraji P. Henson. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good, Vincent. Very good. And despite your long soliloquy on the career of Dick Anthony Williams, you did get that rather fast.
Oh yeah.
You came in prepared.
Yeah. You said you had a harder one.
I have a harder one.
You have a harder one.
I don't have a picture for this one.
You have a picture. Who you got?
I got it. All right.
Who you got?
You said you're ready.
Let's see.
So I'm just gonna give it to you.
All right.
Dervo Martin.
Okay.
To Janelle Monáe.
Oh,
wait a minute. Now you have to. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I mean,
yeah, I know. I just realized you can go the same path and just add one.
I was about to say.
I just realized that. I just realized that you can go the exact same path and add one. Oh, okay. Well, now I gotta go. I've come up with a harder one.
Okay.
And this one I don't even have mapped out.
You only got this mapped out. All right. Who you got?
This is just off the cuff. And,
got?
Joanne, you're free to play with this one.
I'm about to say. All right.
We're dealing Joanne in.
All right. Come on.
I may not get anything because you're the like next level, but I will see if I can play along.
Oh, we'll see. Dervo Martin.
Dervo Martin.
To no, that'd be too hard, easy. All right, Dervo Martin to Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, I don't even know anything she's in.
No.
Yes.
I gotta Google that.
Yes. You've caught me because I don't watch Cate Blanchett movies.
But you do watch Cate Blanchett.
What's she in?
Movie.
Give me a movie she's in.
The Aviator.
Who's in there with her?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay. Him I can work with.
Here we go. No.
Here we go. Dick Anthony Williams.
Okay.
5 on the black hand
This
side.
is gonna be your connector for everything.
Oh yeah.
D Cole's daddy's gonna get you everywhere. Okay.
Mo Better Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Lee is in School Days with Lawrence Fishburne.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence Fishburne is in The Matrix with how I just forget what's his name?
Keanu
Reeves.
Okay.
Oh, I messed up because I was gonna go My Private Idaho, but that's River Phoenix.
Yeah, that's River Phoenix. Yeah. I think the movie you're thinking of is Gilbert Grape.
I am thinking of Gilbert Grape with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
Thank you for the assist.
Yes. Well, the correction.
Yes.
But you still have not mapped it to Cate Blanchett.
You said Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, I said Cate Blanchett.
No, Leonardo DiCaprio is in The Aviator.
Yeah,
with Cate Blanchett.
You haven't gotten to Leonardo DiCaprio. You're at Keanu Reeves.
Leonardo DiCaprio is in.
You're at Keanu Reeves.
He's in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
But you are at Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves isn't in What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
No.
Who's in What's Eating Gilbert Grape? With Leonardo?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Okay.
You're getting your steamed broccoli.
I am. I'm getting my character actors who transitioned into crossover action stars. Oh, so Johnny Depp.
Yeah. So no, you haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, I haven't gotten there.
Any luck on your end, Joanne?
I've got nothing.
She's like, it's like she switched rooms. She's like, I've got.
Nah, I've got nothing.
All I've got is.
I'm Googling here.
What else was Cate Blanchett in?
She's in The Aviator. She's in I can't remember that movie's called The Candidate. She's also in what's that other movie?
Yeah, see, you don't even know what movie she's in.
No, I can't think of the name of it because it's a movie where she's like the going to be like the vice president, and I think it's called The Candidate, but I'm not sure.
Hey, I might be able to help you out here.
Okay.
So Johnny Depp starred with Cate Blanchett in The Man Who Cried, a 2000 drama film with Christina Ricci, Cate Blanchett, Johnny Depp, Harry Dean Stanton, and some other guy. Does that get us there? Is that it?
Well, that doesn't get us there because Vincent was stuck on Keanu Reeves.
Right.
On the passage in the Matrix.
So Johnny Depp.
Now you went Lawrence Fishburne, and I got a funny feeling we can get to Lawrence Fishburne to Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, Cate Blanchett, she's one of these actresses that it seems like she's famous.
She's very famous.
But I can't like put my finger on why.
Because she's a very talented actress.
That you can't name anything she was in.
I just named a bunch of stuff that
you named The Aviator, and then it was a movie you didn't remember the title.
I know the movie. I just can't. I know exactly the movie, and I just can't think of it. Wow. You know what she was in?
What?
The Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons.
Boom, there you go. You didn't even remember she was in it. Talking about Cate Blanchett.
She was in that. She was in a bunch of stuff. She was in Ocean's 8. She's in Ocean's 8. She's in the Lord. Yeah, because she's in the Lord of the Rings. That's yeah. She's the chick that gives everybody their gifts.
Oh well, Lord of the Rings. Then I go.
Don't be like now.
Then I go from Keanu Reeves to Agent Smith to her in Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Don't act like.
I just don't know who she is.
Okay, but you acted like
don't act like
I got this.
Look, you don't act like it's not a dozen blonde-haired actresses. They all look alike. They all kind of had the same roles.
She's in Thor Ragnarok. She plays so
she's right. She's got all the makeup and stuff on.
She's the devil.
Right.
Anyway, that was fun.
All right. You found my weakness.
Cate Blanchett.
One of them actresses that look just like 8 other actresses.
She does not. She's a very talented actress.
I didn't say she wasn't talented. I just said if she walked past me in Starbucks, I wouldn't recognize her.
Okay. All right. That was fun.
All right.
We gotta keep it moving.
All right.
We gotta keep it moving.
Cate Blanchett.
Hey. Next week I'll do John Wayne. You'll be happy, okay?
I can actually get to John Wayne.
I'm sure.
I actually thought about John Wayne.
I'm sure you can get to
because you know why? And I'll give you a hint. John Wayne was in The Shooters with Scatman Crothers.
Well, there you go. All right. So there. You're halfway there for next week.
Oh yeah.
We'll do John Wayne. Yeah, right. Anyway, let's get
because
into
Scatman Crothers is in coonskin with Philip Michael Thomas.
You want to just keep this going? You want to backtrack to
Philip Michael Thomas is in Sparkle with Lynette McKee.
And Lynette McKee
is in Jungle Fever with Wesley Snipes.
And Wesley Snipes
is in Mo Better Blues with Dick Anthony Williams.
And Dick Anthony Williams
was in 5 on the Black Hand Side
with Dervo Martin.
No,
very good. Very good. You proud of yourself?
I am. Because I was actually trying to see. I was thinking of people I could get to. And I was like, could I get to John Wayne? And then I was looking at John Wayne stuff. And what was that movie he made, like where he was like a detective in the 70s? Like McGinnis or McGovern or
McGuy, something like that.
But then I saw one of his last cowboy movies. Somehow Scatman Crothers is in it.
I actually think that's his last movie, The Shooters.
Is that his last movie?
Okay, I think that's a movie they did with Katharine Hepburn. This is his last movie.
Oh, well, Katharine Hepburn. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you could have got there in one.
She's in. Guess who's coming to dinner
with Dervo
Martin.
70s superstar. Anyway,
all right.
Everybody's throwing out all these names. They want to do Woody Strode, Mike Tyson. Yeah. Next week.
All right.
We got a review.
Okay. I'm trying to remember who was. I was like, can I get to Kirk Douglas?
Okay. All right. You got Joanne doing spit takes.
Because I was thinking about Woody Strode, and all I can really think is it Spartacus? He's with Kirk Douglas.
He's in Spartacus, yes, with Kirk Douglas. Yeah, Woody Strode's in a few movies. Anyway, you ready?
I'm ready. Because I'm sitting over here scrolling, trying to remember what Kirk Douglas was in.
I know. Kirk Douglas is one of my favorite actors. I can name a bunch of his movies.
Right.
But that's not the game tonight. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are reviewing.
Was he in something with Michael Douglas?
Here we go.
I'm sorry. Did they make a movie together?
You can just carry on. Because this is very entertaining.
Like, we do have a guest.
I know.
Doing a show for you. Anyway, let's get into our review of Hidden Figures. And we're going to go straight to the review, Vincent. It's no trailer talk today.
No trailer talk.
All right. Hidden Figures is a 2016 American biographical drama directed by Theodore Melfi, written by Melfi and Allison Schroeder. It stars Taraji P. Henson as Katherine Johnson, Octavia Spencer as Dorothy Vaughan, and Janelle Monáe as Mary Jackson. Each of them, three women who were African American female mathematicians and engineers who worked at NASA at the beginning of their space program. The film also stars Kevin Costner, Kirsten Dunst, Jim Parsons, Mahershala Ali, as well as being the selection of our very special guest from American Public Media, Joanne Griffith, today. Joanne, what do you have to say of Hidden Figures, this film? I'm curious, the first time you saw this, did you see this in the theater?
I did. I saw this in the theater, and I think I actually went by myself.
Really?
It was. I actually in the before times, pre-pandemic, I would actually go to the movies by myself quite often. Just to go to an afternoon matinee, or if I didn't get to see something when it first came out, going to the the kind of the second run movie theater. So I'm actually pretty certain that I saw this by myself. I remember immediately coming out and buying the soundtrack by Pharrell Williams was A1, top notch, like captured the vibe of the time, but with a new spin.
Yes.
And it's actually still one of my favorite movie soundtracks. Like I just played that beginning to end over and over again. It was so good, so good. But I remember crying. I remember feeling like, wow, this is a movie that celebrates us as Black people, as Black women. There's no violence, there's no drama in that kind of way. It's just real, like, look what you can do if you are supported. Kind of the movie opens with Katherine Johnson and her parents, and she's a little girl, and they discover basically that she's a mathematical genius.
Yeah.
And her teacher's like, essentially like she has to go somewhere else. Like she's really special. What more could she do if she's just given the chance? And I think that's such a metaphor for life, kind of what could we all do if those doors are open and we're given chances and opportunities to do things to really fulfill what a talent it is that we have. So I think I was boohooing there. I was, boohooing when, Taraji's character, Catherine, literally, she gets a promotion, doesn't get paid any more money, but she gets a promotion to, to kind of work on the big space mission. But, this is America in the 60s. It's kind of set in the segregated South. And there was no bathroom in the part of the NASA building that she was working in. So she had to run. It was like half a mile one way to go and use the colored restroom, as it was called back then. And then she'd have to run the half a mile back to get back to her desk. So I was really upset by that. But then there's this moment where Kevin Costner, who kind of runs the administration or runs the space program, where she says to him, like, she comes in like soaked head to foot because she's had to run and she's wet. And he's like, where have you been? Like, where do you go for 40 minutes every day? And she's like, there's no bathroom for me here.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, there is no colored bathroom here. And then she says what she has to say. She screams the place down, and then she picks up her sandwich bag and her purse, and she very gracefully leaves. And then he basically goes over to the colored section and knocks down the sign and says, okay, and now we just have bathrooms. There's no colored bathroom. There's no white bathroom. It's just a bathroom. And I think watching that scene, kind of that's something that we take for granted, that there's a bathroom that you can go and use when you want. And to think that she would have been in that position that, yeah, you want to perform a natural function and you can't do it because of segregation, even though the space program was really reliant on her as a human computer to kind of do accurate numbers to send this man into space.
Very true.
Right.
Very true.
Right.
And you're like, wow, but you can't use the restroom that is most convenient to you. So I definitely had all of the feelings of what it meant to, to get past racism or to operate gracefully and still be brilliant within racism. I was really touched by that whole thing of, kind of what it means when you're given an opportunity. But then also, I think what makes me sad sometimes is just a lot of the themes that are in that movie about people not seeing beyond skin color and only kind of seeing what they want to see or not giving you credit. The amount of times that Catherine she'd write the report and she'd write her name on the report, authored by, and her colleague was kind of like, yeah, you're a computer. Computers don't author. They're not authors. And it's like the number of times that people still are shut down for their talent and their work because it's like, so it's amazing how it looks at history and it looks at science and it looks at innovation, but still very much speaks, unfortunately, to a lot of the stuff that we're still dealing with here at the tail end of 2021. So,
most definitely. I thought two things in regards to the whole bathroom and the computer thing were kind of like, they weren't subtle because it was definitely like hard hit, but you still had to pay attention to it to really like piece it together. Because on the bathroom tip, yeah, she has to run a half a mile away, she says, to the colored bathroom. But I thought it was really even more eye-opening in the beginning of the film when she first, gets this move into this big room from which, very like hardly any woman is in there. The only woman that's in there is the head guy's secretary.
Right.
And that's because the secretary is going to be a woman. Other than that, it's all these white guys in their white shirts with their skinny ties. And she goes up to the only other woman there thinking, well, she'll be able to tell me where the ladies' room is. And only for that woman who doesn't seemingly seem to have like any type of axe to grind against her. It's just a matter of the times being what it is. She tells her there's no bathroom for you here. And that immediately like puts her back in her place of, oh, that's right. I'm in here because of my mind, but I'm still a black woman. But then to the point of how she can't have her name on the reports is, oh, I'm here for my mind, but not only am I still a black woman, really all they see me is an instrument. I'm just a computer. They don't even call me a woman.
Yeah.
All these women that are in the computerized pool from whence she came, they are all just computers. That's it. So they basically are just calculators, tools for all of these white people. So in a way, they are still in a way slaves to whatever they do. And it's just,
they're objects.
Yeah, they're just objects, and that's all. That's all they see. Bare minimum for them. There's a stark difference when you see everybody going to the cafeterias and they have to turn off to the colored cafeteria, which is basically like this pillbox of a room with folded chairs, as opposed to the nice shiny cafeteria on the other side. So and this is not stuff that is played up in a big way, because that's not what this drama is trying to really publicize, but it's still putting it up front for you to see, because it is still very much, it's on the fringes of the story, but it still impacts the story because this is the world in which these women have to operate, and I thought that was really, really cool.
And just kind of pulling at that thread actually a little bit about the differences and how people were treated in there. Like there was a real story about womanhood and about sisterhood in Hidden Figures as well. You kind of, so for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, you have essentially kind of these women who are the computers, they are the mathematicians, but you have the colored women, the black women, and you have the white women. You have Octavia
Spencer.
Spencer, sorry. I'm like, as I was saying, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Octavia Spencer, I'm sure Octavia Butler would have had a whole lot to say. But you have Octavia Spencer's character, Dorothy Vaughan. She is a supervisor of this large group of, probably about 20 or 30 black women. But she's like the interim supervisor. And when her boss, played by Kirsten Dunst, comes into the room, she's kind of like, hey, so I've been doing this supervisor job for kind of close to the year. Like, what's up? She referred to Kirsten Dunst's character as Mrs. Micheaux, but Mrs. Micheaux referred to Dorothy Vaughan as Dorothy.
Yes,
and it was just like ever so subtle. It's like, yeah, you are just, it's like that whole thing about being property. It's kind of like, yeah, you are just this name. You're not, because you take away that name, it's like you're not a whole person, kind of, you're not married. Like even just the fact of just kind of not like Mrs. Vaughan, it's just like Dorothy. You then kind of also saw this sisterhood of, Dorothy Vaughan when they basically further on in the movie, and I love this kind of this point of tension too, but later on in the movie you see NASA buys a bunch of these huge kind of very early IBM computers. And there's this whole kind of comedy scene trying to get it into the room that no one measured it. So they have to like bash down the door to kind of get it.
Real talk. Yep.
You know, and it was the guys who did that, who didn't measure it and they couldn't get in there. But, you know, but Dorothy Vaughan, I love the fullness of her character because she's like, oh, what is it? And they're like, oh, it's computers. And she was kind of like, oh, well, I want to learn about that. But she doesn't say it because she knows if she says it, they're going to be like, of course, we're not going to teach you. So you see that ingenuity. She goes to the library. It's a segregated library. You know, there's a whole kind of scene there of how folks are kind of like, well, why are you here? And it's kind of like, well, I came to get a book. And it's like, yeah, but your books are elsewhere. And it's like, yeah, but the book I want is here.
That's right.
And it's just like teachable moment with her children when she takes the book and it's a book about computers. And she, you know, it's a teachable moment on the bus with her sons of like, yeah, I pay taxes. This book belongs to me. But the fact that she would then take the information that she learned in the book, because she saw the future, she saw what was happening.
Yes.
And she learned, like she was the one that got the computer to work. And then she turned around and she taught all of the people that she supervised. It was that kind of like each one teach one. You know?
Right. Exactly.
So when the moment came of like, oh, well, we don't need the human computers anymore. She's like, it's okay. Like my girls are ready. Let's go. You know, and she made sure that she was not going to leave anybody behind, even when some of them were reluctant, like, wow, this is going to be really hard. And she was like, no, we got to learn it. Like this is job security. But I also loved though how just these like nuggets of humanity that they sprinkled through the movie. So to get to that point of seeing Dorothy Vaughan in the IBM computer room, basically figuring out how it worked, what you had to kind of go way back to the beginning of the movie where they're driving into work, the car breaks down, and she's fixing the car.
Right. So which lets you know that she already has the mind for mechanics.
Yeah. But there was also like another tiny thing in there where she makes the point, my daddy taught me how to do this.
Exactly.
It was kind of like, I didn't just arrive here. My daddy was here. I was part of a family, a whole family. And now I'm teaching my children how to do things in my community. So I love the film for that. Just that real subtlety of community and sisterhood and struggle. But everything wasn't miserable. You know, we saw scenes where, like, I love the scene where Katherine Johnson, or Catherine Goebel, as she is at the beginning of the movie, you know, she's a widowed mother of 3. She lives with her mom. Her mom is helping her raise her girls. But the scene where, you know, she meets Mahershala Ali, it's this kind of, you know, they're at a church picnic and it's all very chaste and very lovely. But then we see another scene, you know, when they kind of getting to know each other a little better and they're dancing. It's just folks hanging out at a house, having a good time, having a drink. It was just lovely. It was, you know, it was, even though the world outside was tough, it showed that there was nuance to Blackness. You know, these were people who were not poor, who clearly were doing very well for themselves. Thank you very much. Held really good jobs. You know, their kids were in school. They were having a lovely time. And I was kind of like, we often don't see that depiction of, you know, the time of the civil rights movement, that kind of like late 50s, early 60s. We always see the struggle, but we don't often see that people were doing okay. And so having that nuance in the movie, I thought it very subtly pitted black and white, but then kind of showed like, kind of Black folks are many things, not just the struggle. You know, we're not always on the struggle bus.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the greatest achievements of this film, it's almost like a bait and switch. Where it was advertised as, you know, these 3 extraordinary women and their extraordinary careers. But within the film, I think the characters would agree, they worked at NASA.
Yeah.
But this is their life. So, you know, everything that we see in the church, everything we see with the couples, you know, whether we're talking about Mahershala Ali's characters, courting Kathleen, or the moments that, you didn't mention Aldous Hodges. And,
right.
Love Aldous Hodges' character
as Mary
Jackson's husband.
Yeah.
And their relationship, because, Mary's a firecracker.
Mm-hmm.
And you do think, who's married to this firecracker? And it's like, well, this man.
Yeah.
And you get this sense of this young couple full of all this passion and everything that goes along with it. And to your point, where you said they turn off into their own cafeteria, but the shot you see of the all-white cafeteria is like all kind of washed out and sterile. And even though their lunchroom is small, you feel the warmth coming off the screen. And, like you said, Joanne, I love the fact that all three women's journey is rooted in family.
Most certainly.
Like the very first scene is like, I love the way the very first scene sets it up, that Kathleen is supported. Catherine is supported and nurtured, first by her parents. She goes to this all black school when she's a little kid. They make the comment that they've collected money to help offset the cost. I love the detail after Catherine's first day that Mary and Dorothy wait for her.
Yeah.
To give her a ride home. So
what I really loved about that opening, and everything that you two have said about it is great. But what I loved about it, watching it, especially in that, it's images of young Catherine kind of like walking through the woods, and she's doing like math in her head, and then she starts to see the shapes, and they start kind of floating out. You kind of like what they always do in like movies to depict somebody like working out problems and equations in their heads and things like that. But the way that this plays out, and everybody, the parents and the teachers talking about how special she is, and she's so young, she's only like 14. Yeah, well, they want her in high school now. Like they want her now. You know what I mean? It played out almost like a superhero origin, right? Like you could almost like have that whole beginning and then cut to, and it's Nubia. Like, like super sister, so I loved that part of it all. And that she does become basically this hero, the story that you hear in when you do the research on the movie is that one of the things that Catherine then Johnson, Johnson ultimately said that she appreciated, the hoopla and the stardom and the book that gave birth to the movie and everything like that. But why y'all want to do a story about me? She was just like, I did my job.
This is what I do.
It's what I do. It's what I did. As a matter of fact, she even speaks of, because like you kind of touched on it, Joanne, a little bit in these films, there is always a little bit of dramatic license that is taken, some amalgamation of characters and scenes. The scene where she basically does do the speaking out about having to run to the bathroom, that actually happened to Mary Jackson. That was actually a situation that happened to Mary Jackson, but it just made sense to kind of pull that into this main character, because Mary Jackson is off becoming an engineer for much of this movie, as opposed to Dorothy and Catherine, who are further along, because you can see that they're older and they're further along on their career, and they're in the midst of making career moves. So it made sense to pull that into Catherine's story as our focal point for the movie. But I loved it because the best heroes don't know they're heroes. They're just doing what they do. They're like, she, as much as she didn't like that, they she went and got a cup of coffee, and now all of a sudden there's a colored pot of coffee the next day. It didn't stop her from doing what she had to do. As much as Jim Parsons' character Paul kept telling her that computers don't author reports, she kept putting her name on the report, and he had to keep telling her to take it off. She was not as much as he redacted from the numbers that she was supposed to pull. She just like every sister I know is like, well, I'm gonna get this done, so I'm gonna have to see, Atlas, and then just casually just walk up to that blackboard. I don't care if y'all looking at me. Something don't look right here. Let me do this and make this right. She was just doing her job, living her life, and it was wonderful. And as fans of Taraji P. Henson, I can see why she got a claim for this role, because she is like spot on. All three of them are spot on in this movie, especially Octavia Spencer. You talked about, Joanne, the scene where she ultimately, teaches her girls to also run the IBM computer, the big IBM computer. My absolute favorite moment in this film is when she pulls a card on Kirsten Dunst's character, like, you don't want to. They want me over there. They got to take my girls.
That's right.
And and the next thing you know, she walks into the room, and what she says is, ladies, we have been reassigned. But what she means is squad.
Yeah.
Because the next scene is the ladies walking down.
That's
and it's a scene out of every astronaut movie, every army movie, every crew thick movie. The chicks are walking down. They just stepping, all 30s of these ladies walking into the IBM room. And I love just the little subtle touch as they walk into the room. All those white guys, hello, ladies. I loved it because they weren't computers. Now they were ladies because they had a job to do. I loved that part. I loved it.
Yeah, it's so funny you said that. And I love how it's kind of slow-mo. Like you say, it is that the spaceman walking up to the gantry and we're getting on. It was like, it's really cool. But just a point though on that computer room and just that whole kind of computer scene too. Did you notice that kind of there was like a little bit of tension, and I'm assuming that it was intentional, that they were trying to kind of create between, this new world of the computers and the human computers of Catherine. So you have that scene where Kevin Costner's character is saying to Catherine, like they're really close to, to kind of doing the launch. And it's like, well, hey, that the IBM computers are up and running now. All of the numbers for this launch is going to be done via the computers. Like basically we kind of don't need you anymore. And then you almost, and then you have that scene of kind of Dorothy Vaughan kind of standing in the IBM room, kind of like, okay, like we're good, we're here. But I love that they didn't, it was really subtle, because it could have been seen as kind of black woman against black woman.
Right.
But it was also a story of kind of new world, old world.
Yes.
Kind of we're about to kind of hit space. We're about to kind of go into a new frontier, but we're still here on Earth. It's also like that kind of like digital analog kind of little bit of friction. But even in amongst it all, because when she was done, where did she go? Like she went back to where she started with her girls, and they were still good, because it was still that thing of like no matter what, like we're a pack and we roll deep, like we're a squad.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter that, and there was no jealousy. There was no, oh well, look at you, you went over there, you think you're special. It was like no, and I actually think that Dorothy Vaughan says it, or Octavia Spencer. It's kind of like, essentially kind of like a win for one is a win for all of us. Like no matter what. So yeah, I think for all of those reasons, for me, it's feel good, but it's rooted in nuance and reality. And like, honestly, like how we all should be conducting ourselves in the workplace, you know?
I was about to say it's almost like an instruction manual.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because I did appreciate the fact that it didn't become the Katherine Johnson story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like it really was about all three of them. I mean, obviously she's the lead character, but like you said, there was no rivalry.
No.
You know, one of us wins, all of us win.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, the only way one of us can win is if all of us win together. What is it? You know, you go fast or you can go far.
Right.
And, you know, by yourself, you can go fast, but all of us can go far.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that it's a theme that just goes throughout the film.
I like also, you speaking of just subtle tension that could have played differently in less capable hands, in that in the beginning, when you see Mary Jackson with her husband, played by Aldous Hodge, there's a little bit of tension about her going to become an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
He snipes at her for staying out late. You know, you already don't come home, you know, from the job that you have, and now you're talking about taking night classes, you know, and there's a little bit of tension in there. And also, you spoke to them, they are the younger couple, so there's a scene of him watching the television, and he is actually, you know, you see him like bristling at a couple of the reports, you know, of what's going on in the real world there, juxtaposed to her, you know, in his eyes, you know, fantasy of, you know, you're going to be at NASA and they're going to let you be an engineer and everything like that. And that never really bubbles over, because the next scene you see is him coming to her, because she's now going to be taking the night classes. Yeah. And he's got the pencils, the
mechanical pencils.
He's got the mechanical pencils for her. And it's all about being supportive. It's all about, you know, hey, you're going to do this, so I'm going to be here with you. But it doesn't erase what happens, because she does say, don't you make me mad at you again. Mm-hmm. Because because that's the reality. That's the reality. Because over a couple of days, reality sets in, and you just keep on moving on and keep on living. I just a beautiful touch in that movie.
It's incredible, and I think too, like I said, that the kind of the sisterhood, and I love that you mentioned that thing about the young couple, and actually in all of the couples, I think what, as a woman, you know, as a career woman, what stood out for me really was they were all loved and cared for in their entirety. You know, kind of their partners recognized, like, oh, she's smart, and she's gonna do this anyway, and not kind of not in a, oh, let me fall in line kind of way, but it's like I love the scene where Mahershala brings Catherine, or brings Taraji soup because she has food.
Yeah.
And he's also bringing stuff for his girl. I will say that Taraji looked really good for a woman that had the flu. I will say that. I was giving that. I'm like, really, sis? Are we sure? Like, because I don't look like that when I have flu. I don't look like that on a regular day. Just saying.
It's still a movie,
right? It's still Hollywood.
Yeah, we're not ready for the real, but yeah, just how that they were loved and cared for and allowed to be the brilliant women that they all were. And it was really that sense of, it takes a village. It's not something, even having children that kind of understand what you do, even though they may not like you being away, you know. And I love too that we didn't see this kind of them all having to kind of rush home to be mom and wife and cook and clean and everything else. It was, you know, I'm sure that was intentional, not to kind of create that work-life balance thing. It was kind of like, we're doing something really important for the world, or for the country. And, you know, I will say, I know we're probably kind of like bumping up on time. I think one other scene that really is worth mentioning is the one where the space crew travel to, I don't know, it's Cape Canaveral or wherever it was that they were, and you had the lineup with all of the white scientists. You have a big gap, and then you had all of the like the black computers, and they're shaking hands, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, he's that person, he's that person," and then you see John Glenn be kind of like, "Oh wait, hold on, there's more people, people over here.
Yeah.
Let me just go say hi." And again, it's just like the very subtle ways that the movie dealt with race and racism and segregation and the realities of that time.
Yeah,
just subtly, him just kind of been like, yeah, like, again, setting up that tension of, essentially kind of Catherine is the one who's going to help him get up there with her math.
That's right.
Kind of like the computer kind of didn't get it right at one point, and it was like, no, I want the human computer to run the numbers, and if her numbers say it's a go, then we go. I love that scene. That scene kind of gave me chills. It was kind of like, the world is reliant on a black woman.
Well, again, back to something we said at the very beginning, because I will say, I never heard of this story. I never heard of these women. I never heard, there was a room full of black women doing space math.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about how they took liberties and they adapt things, but that part is absolutely true.
The whole John Glenn thing.
Like it wasn't, down to the wire like that. But John Glenn said, I want Katherine Johnson to check the math.
Yep.
How do we not know that? Like, how is this not a story that's not been told since then? That a black woman was the one that was given the go, no go.
Because unfortunately that's just the way those things that they were hidden figures,
right?
And that was no more real than when she comes with, after checking everything and races the figures there. I mean, like you said, it didn't actually play out like that in real life, but in the movie, for tension's sake, it runs right like as he's hitting the on button on a rocket,
right.
And she's racing there with a guy next to her, a white guy next to her, right? They raced the half mile away from where the colored computers were. Which, side note, sometimes I have to pick a nit. When she originally runs out there because she has to go to the bathroom, and she comes back and she's wet because she ran in the rain. That's when she has her big rant to Kevin Costner, who, shout out to Kevin Costner. He's very good in the film as well. She mentions, I can't take, they got some kind of like on campus bike thing that I think the illusion is that black people can't take that.
Right.
You're not allowed. When the white guy ran, first of all, why'd he run the half mile? He could have taken one of the bikes to go there to get.
There was a lot going on.
Or he could have, but he knew they were up against the clock.
John Glenn was in space trouble.
Right. If you know you're up against the clock, you get on the bike.
He was just distracted. It's space trouble.
Well, okay. All right.
Go get the black woman to do some space math.
Well, then one of them should have said, let's get on the white bike so that we can get back there in a decent time. But anyway, my aside is over. I just noticed that and I was like, anyway. So, but then when they do get up there, he takes they run right to the door. He goes in because he's got a badge, and then they boom, close the door right there. And at that point, I said it to myself, like, hidden figures. She's outside. She's on the other side of that door, and in shadow. In shadow. Yeah. Now, Kevin Costner then comes in and lets her in, but, and this is another little subtle thing. One, Kevin Costner's character is an amalgamation of other characters.
Right.
So you don't know 100% whether or not that happened. Two, when he is in the room, when she does enter in the room and see how everything is going down, she pretty much only talks to two people, Kevin Costner and Jim Parsons. So again, you're not with, at the end of the day, you don't know whether or not that actually, she actually was in that room. And I assume that her being in that room is a little bit of the movie magic.
Right.
Because to your point, the reason that story stays so hidden is because she's actually on the other side of that room, and she's not the one to be able to tell that story of exactly where these figures came from. And John Glenn, to, you know, you said Katherine Johnson, but we know the words that they use in the movies actually are his actual words, and he said the girl. He didn't know her name, so he couldn't then go forward with her name as well.
But he knew who he was talking about.
Oh, he knew exactly who he was talking about, though.
Right.
Yo, he knew exactly who he was talking about.
Yeah.
But so that's why their story remained hidden, and that's why it's that much more of a triumph that their story is now told. And think about it, by the time that they're told, Katherine Johnson was 97 years old.
I'm just glad she was alive to
and she was unfortunately the only one alive at that time, to receive a celebration. So as we come to the end, Joanne, that leaves us with the question: would you recommend that people watch Hidden Figures?
No, terrible movie. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, a plot twist.
Like 1,000%. Yes. You know, it's good if you have young children, especially if you have like little girls, you know, it's kind of like, you can, like, don't be scared of numbers. Don't be scared of science. You know, I always hear like so many little boys, I want to be an astronaut. I want to go to space. And I still don't feel like I hear enough little girls and young women saying that, you know, kind of, I feel like maybe our examples, especially for kind of young kids of color and like little Black girls, it's, you know, we got Mae Jemison, but there's a lot of other folks who, you know, working in space programs and what have you, but don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of numbers and science and all of that. You know, you could be a Katherine Johnson or a Dorothy Vaughan or, you know, a Mary Jackson. Who knows what discoveries are out there kind of waiting for us. But it's a really great family movie. You know, you learn some history while you're there. I'd say if you've not read the book that all of this is based on, definitely read that too, because that's super informative. But, you know, I think it's just a great entree into thinking about, you know, our history. And, you know, there are so many different stories about things that we as Black people have contributed to. And, you know, I wish there were more versions of Hidden Figures on all kinds of ways that we've contributed as Black folks. So, yeah, 100% recommend. Watch it. And the thing is, I very rarely buy movies on DVD, because why? But that is one that we actually own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how much as a family we really enjoyed it. So yeah, and of course now we just have it on streaming, but whatever, we still have it as
in many ways. That's
on,
right.
on a DVD just to kind of have it like that. And like Black Panther, there's ones that you should just have a hard copy of, you know.
I sense a special, Vincent. What's on your shelf?
What's on your shelf?
What should be on your Black movie shelf? Yeah. Because Black Panther, Hidden Figures. I can come off the top of my head about 5 other films.
Lethal Weapon 2, of course. The magic's back.
Bear him no mind. Would you recommend people watch Hidden Figures?
Of course. I'll in addition to everything that Joanne said, I would also add, it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like, the acting is superb. The directing, you know, you mentioned that wonderful scene with her right outside the door. I love the scenes in the community. Mahershala Ali proposing to her and the little girls.
Yeah.
Actually choked me up a little bit. Like it's wonderfully acted. It's wonderfully shot. The sets, the costumes, everything is wonderful. Just as a movie. In addition to all of the other value that it has. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I also want to shout out, you shout out Mahershala Ali. Octavia Spencer, of course, was nominated for an Oscar Academy Award for her performance in this film. I want to shout out, and I mentioned Kevin Costner. Jim Parsons and Kirsten Dunst, both, who both, and I appreciate them taking the challenge, but they had the thankless jobs of being jerks in this movie, of being amalgamations of, well, Jim Parsons' character is actually a real character, Paul Stafford, but being people who were, you know, subtly, like it was, theirs was a subtle prejudice that was shown. Like they weren't like, you know, raving, you know, racist in any way. You know, Dorothy has that great line with Kirsten Dunst's character when Kirsten Dunst's character says, you know, quiet as kept, I have nothing against you people, and Dorothy says, I know that, and I'm glad that you think you do. You know, go ahead, Joanne. Yeah.
No. It was exactly that. It was kind of like, yes, I'm sure you believe that.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I'm sure you believe that. Yeah. That was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and was beautifully done, beautifully played, and Kirsten Dunst was beautifully acted in this film, as well as Jim Parsons. If you only know him from Big Bang Theory, he actually shows you different shades in this film. So I appreciated their work, and like Joanne said, this is a film, you know, if you don't have it on your shelf, this should definitely be in curriculum in schools everywhere, from elementary, and then rewatch it in high school where you can pick it apart some more, and then revisit it in college as well, because this is a film that and a story that is worth being told and shared from here on.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
Hidden no more, as they say.
I agreed.
All right. Well, that will bring us to a close to this episode of the Micheaux Mission. Joanne Griffith of American Public Media. This was, first of all, a delight to have you on our show.
Thank you for bringing this to us.
It was really cool. I actually noticed in the chat, I don't know if you saw that Farrell Blackwell said that, Joanne, you have a great voice for radio and your accent is so much better than Tina Turner's.
Well, thank you.
So the missionaries definitely enjoyed listening to you. And I invite you all to go check out American Public Media, all of the great things, all the great podcasts that they have, americanpublicmedia.org. We're talking to their head podcaster. They got Tig Notaro's podcast. That's enough said right there. When I saw that y'all had Tig, I mean, who Tig is a treasure. I love Tig. But when I heard y'all had our podcast, I was like, all right, I'm done. They win. Joanne for the win. So God bless them. God bless them.
Well, thank you so much. And you can actually find our podcast stuff at an easier website, apmstudios.org, apmstudios.org. And that'll take you to Tig and Nora and all of our kid stuff and a bunch of other things.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And for all you missionaries who have sat through the technical difficulties that we had at the top of the show, we appreciate you all. Before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to email us all of your thoughts and concerns. You can email us at themicheauxmission@gmail.com. Like and follow us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube at Micheaux Mission, which is MICHEAUXMISSION. 2 Men, 1 Podcast, every black film ever made, where you can go to our website and hit swag and check out all of the cool designs and gifts that we have available for you by way of our good friends at T Public. The Micheaux Mission is a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work. All right, next week, we begin the final two, begin our Christmas shows.
Our Christmas show. Well, we started with Trading Places.
Okay, we did start with Trading Places. That's true. That's true. But you know, that's while it is Christmassy, it's Christmas adjacent.
Okay.
We are actually
doing in it now.
We are in.
We are in it.
We are standing under the mistletoe.
That's
my
right.
friend.
Eggnog and peppermint sticks.
Yes. But I was specifically putting us under the mistletoe because next week we are watching your film.
Yes.
From 2020.
Yes.
Jingle Jangle.
Jingle Jangle.
A Christmas Journey.
Yes.
Starring
Forrest Whitaker.
Felicia Rashad. And
Keegan Michael.
Key.
And I believe, let me see. Who did I forget?
Who did you forget?
Who could I have forgotten? I believe an actress named Anika Noni Rose might be in this.
Anika Noni Rose. Just to let you know, Joanne, Anika Noni Rose, that is Vincent's North Star. He loves himself. So
she's quite talented.
That's what he said.
Very talented.
Yes, that's what he says on air when his wife is watching us.
Don't get yourself in trouble, man.
So next week, ladies and gentlemen, Jingle Jangle.
Jingle Jangle.
A Christmas Journey here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vincent, I'm Len, and in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet.